To whom grace is given, thanks is appreciated. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group. This is it, the end of this particular 5-part series in our study of the book of Mark. We wrap it up by jumping back to Mark 12 to a powerful story. It's not a parable. This actually happened. Jesus called it out. He actually spoke it and it was recorded so that we could see this sister's faith. This sister's faith to take 2 coins and God has turned it into a testimony that's lasted thousands of years. Before we count these 2 coins and what they mean to us today, I want to thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. And again, we don't do social media, but we need you to be social. Pass this video on, pass the playlist on to someone to encourage them. And if there's more that you want to see, go over to changeministry.org. Lots of videos and some. Again, not everything is on the video. Sometimes we need to read, and that's why we created the Daniel and Revelation series. We finished up the book of Revelation. We're working on the book of Daniel, but go to that at changeministry.org/revelation and see Jesus revealed like only the Bible can. To whom grace is given, thanks is appreciated. This is a play on the word of encouragement and wisdom that Jesus says, where to whom much is given, much is required. This is a story that took place before Jesus actually began his prophetic ministry of revealing to us what was going to happen in the last days, where he's in church and he's there in the temple and he sees this woman. Well, let's just read it. It says in Mark 12 and verse 41, Jesus sat over against the treasury and behold how the people cast money into the treasury. So he's watching the people give money, and many that were rich cast in much. And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. Jesus was watching the people. It's no different now. Jesus is watching us now. Jesus as our high priest and God on the throne, they're watching us. And they're not the only ones watching. Guess who else is watching? The devil's watching. Satan, the fallen angel, Lucifer, is watching, and his demons are watching. They're intent on us. So both the fallen angels and the faithful angels and the Godhead are watching us to see what we're doing with what God has given us. So now Jesus is watching and he sees this woman. In fact, he sees this woman who gives these 2 mites, and he called unto him his disciples, and he says unto them, Verily I say unto you that this poor widow hath cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury. Because all that they did cast in, they did it in their abundance. That was in their overage. But she of her want went and did cast in all that she had, even all her living. She didn't give of her over, she gave of her under. But how or what could drive her to that point where she was willing to give her food money? She gave her rent money. She gave her money that could have gone to something else. That was her wealth. Too often we think of wealth as excess, but that was her, all she had. And because it was all that she had, she gave it. Even though it was a literal story, it actually became a parable in that she was giving back because she believed that God gave it to her in the first place. The thought of what this woman did and its meaning is actually nothing new. It was another instance. It actually is what happened in the life of David, because when that much grace has been given to you, you don't find it hard to respond by giving back thanks for it. What are we talking about? In 1 Chronicles chapter 29, we're back in history. Solomon has not become king yet. He's there, but he's not king yet. David is king. And God told David that, no, you got too much blood on your hands. You're going to curate the resources that allow Solomon to actually build the sanctuary, my temple. So here's where David is. He comes and says, I have prepared with all my might for the house of my God, the gold for things to be made of gold, and the silver for things of silver, and the brass for things of brass, and the iron for things of iron, and wood for things of wood, onyx stones and stones to be set, glistening or glistering stones, and of diverse colors, and all manner of precious stones, and marble stones in abundance. Moreover, because I've set my affection into the house of my God, I have of mine own proper good of gold and silver, I have given to the house of my God over and above all that I have prepared for the holy house. David had given his mites. His 2 mites just so happened to be a lot of gold, a lot of silver, a lot of onyx, a lot of stones, but he gave it back to God. I know also in verse 17, my God, that thou triest the heart and hast pleasure in uprightness. As for me, in the uprightness of my heart. Now, if the widow could speak in the widow's mite in Mark 12, this is what her heart and what her actions were saying. I know also, my God, that thou triest the heart and hast pleasure in uprightness. As for me, in the uprightness of my heart, I have willingly offered all these things. And now I have seen with joy thy people, which are present here, to offer willingly unto thee. That prayer that David prayed echoed all the way down to that woman in Mark 12. The spirit of what was done, the attitude and the heart, the fact that God's grace had been extended that far to David. David said, I'm going all in. I'm giving of my own wealth to God. Not just what was collected as his role as king, but I'm giving my own assets towards the house of God. That's what the widow did. And what it shows us is that to whom grace is given, much thanks is appreciated. How much so that when Jesus saw it, he stopped his disciples and said, look here, look at what this lady is doing. This is what I'm talking about. It was appreciated. It was valued. It was called out by the Son of God. So what God is saying is, I'm not looking for you to pay me back. I'm just looking for you to know that I gave. And the way that I know that you know that I gave is that you thank me for it. You appreciate it. You value it. And so when you value it, what would appear to be sacrifice is not sacrifice. It's sweet. It's not a problem. It's praise. We got to praise him. He's not asking us to pay him back. He's just asking us to tell him, thank you for paying it in the first place. I want to pray that I be a praiser, that I become a praiser, that I have the spirit and the mindset of this widow and the spirit and the mindset of David to give back to the God who's given me everything. I don't have everything, so I can't give back everything, but I can give back something. All he's asking us is that we say thank you.